thought it was an amazing meeting. He's a great leader of a very powerful, very strong country, China. And what can I say? We have, it was an outstanding group of decisions, I think, that was made. A lot of decisions were made, too. There wasn't too much left out there. And we've come to conclusion on many very important points, and we'll be handing that to you in a little while. We're having, because there was a lot of different things, many of them very important. We're in agreement on so many elements, large amounts, tremendous amounts of the soybeans and other farm products are going to be purchased immediately, starting immediately. If you notice, President Xi authorized yesterday for China to start, did you know that, right? China to start buying in very large quantities of soybeans and other things, which I appreciated. That was a very nice gesture. And many other things like that. On fentanyl, we agreed that he was going to work very hard to stop the flow. It's a very complex subject because it's used for lots of different reasons, including anesthetics and things. But he's going to work very hard on it, precursors, and I think you're going to see some real action taken. I've agreed, as you know, I put a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl coming in, which is it's a big tariff. And based on his statements today, I reduced it by 10%, so it's 10% instead of 20% effective immediately. I believe he's going to work very hard to stop the death that's coming in. But again, it's complex because of what fentanyl is, what the precursors do. So I think you're going to see a big difference. We've had discussions on many of the elements that you're talking about all the time. You're asking me questions, and most of those things were I think agreed to for the most part. I think we agreed to almost everything in a very acceptable form. I wouldn't say everything was discussed because there were things that probably, in retrospect, we could have discussed and we didn't, for some reason, didn't come up. But if you have any questions, let me know. Go ahead.
What about chips, sir? Did he agree? Did you agree to sell any more down
chips? We did discuss chips, and they're going to be talking to NVIDIA and others about taking chips. Look, we make great chips. NVIDIA is the leader. And I'll be speaking to Jensen from NVIDIA, but they're going to be discussing that with NVIDIA to see whether or not they can do. I said that's really between you and NVIDIA, but we're sort of the arbitrator or the referee. It's a little rough up here. The skies are a little rough.
And just to clarify, sir, that is the downgraded Blackwell chips. You would authorize those to be exported?
No, not the Blackwell. We're not talking about the Blackwell. That just came out yesterday. But a lot of chips, a lot of the chips, and that's good for us.
How soon do you think you'd be able to sign an actual?
Please, come on. You know what you do? Yeah, come on.
Let me
stand right over here.
Yeah, hey everybody, thanks. Let me just make a point on the chips. As the president was saying, there's so many chips we already sent to China, a lot of advanced chips, etc. And as he said, NVIDIA will talk to China and see what's possible. The Blackwell chips, of course, weren't discussed. We focused on export controls of China on rare earths, and they're going to keep those flowing, which is quite important.
What are the major stumbling blocks that are left now to work through, and how soon do you think you could sign a trade deal with China?
Well, I think pretty soon. We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal, but I think the deal will go on for a long time, long beyond the year. We'll negotiate at the end of a year, but all of the rare earth has been settled, and that's for the world. I mean, worldwide. This, I guess you could really say this was a worldwide situation, not just the U.S. situation. So we continue to produce the rare earths and buy the rare earths and everything else, when you see from other countries. But China is, that whole situation, that roadblock is gone now. There's no roadblock at all on rare earth. That will hopefully disappear from our vocabulary for a little while.
So
And
is that a 1-year pause on the policy they announced?
It's a 1-year agreement, and we'll extend it after a year.
And what will
like we do. It's a 1-year deal that will, I think, be very routinely extended as time goes by.
To be,
what will
to
your
be
new
totally
tariff-
clear, they're not going to impose the rare earth controls that they proposed. President Trump and President Xi came to an understanding on that thing.
What will your new tariff rate on China's goods be once you
It's the
sign a
same,
deal?
other than what the tariffs are made exactly the same.
55%.
It's about, it was 57, now it's 47.
And how long?
Because we reduced it by the fentanyl. Because I believe they are really taking strong action. We've already seen the action on fentanyl, and they're taking very strong action. So we reduced to 10%.
So that November date is gone when it was going to go up again?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. So
That's all.
on fentanyl, they've agreed there are a variety of precursors. You may recall that actual fentanyl was scheduled by China in the president's first term successfully. There are certain precursors where they take whatever actions they need to control that. If they can control rare earths, we know they can control the precursors. And President Xi, I think, was very strong in saying he was going to enforce those laws internally. And of course, we'll watch that. And we'll
He's
work
going to
with
be
them.
very strong in enforcing the fentanyl, everything having to do with fentanyl and regulations internally, including taking very strong measures against those that don't obey.
And a variety of other tariffs still remain. The Section 301 tariffs from the original, a variety of Section 232 tariffs. Some of these tariffs are, as the president mentioned, around 40%. For some individual products, it may go up to 100%, but as a general matter, it's about 45, 47%.
So, sir, it sounds like you might be going to China then after the successful
Yeah,
meeting.
that's another thing we agreed. I'll be going to China in April, and he'll be coming here sometime after that, whether it's in Florida, Palm Beach, or Washington, D.C.
Did you read anything on the shipping fees, the 301 shipping investigation?
Well, that's been
So we're going to postpone that while we negotiate with them about that issue. We're trying to rebuild shipbuilding. The Koreans just agreed to invest $150 billion in shipbuilding, so we think we have a good path forward.
but that's no longer an issue.
Did the war in Ukraine or Taiwan come up?
We discussed that, and we discussed basically these are rough winds in Asia. I must tell you, this is a rough flight. We could have waited an hour, maybe. This is a little tough. These are tough conditions for interviews. You know, they're going to be watching Trump. They're going to say he didn't look too good. He's got the shakes. I don't have the shakes, but people are going to think I do.
You're pretty solid.
So Ukraine, it came up.
Yeah, it did come up. Ukraine came up very strongly. We talked about it for a long time, and we're both going to work together to see if we can get something done. We agreed the sides are, locked in and fighting, and sometimes you have to let them fight, I guess. Crazy. But he's going to help us, and we're going to work together on Ukraine. There's not a lot more we can do. The oil, he's been buying oil from Russia for a long time. It takes care of a big part of China. And, I can say India's been very good on that front. But we didn't really discuss the oil. We discussed working together to see if we could get that war finished. It doesn't affect China. It doesn't affect us. And I'd like to see it done on the basis. I don't like to see 6, 7, 8,000 young people, mostly young people, for the most part soldiers, be killed. It's not costing us anything. In fact, we make money, and I don't even want to talk about making money. I don't care about making money in that case. But, we send weapons to NATO. They buy full price. They buy the weapons. They give them to whoever, but I think they give them probably to Ukraine for the most part. And we discussed it. We discussed all that. We're going to work together to try and get the war with Russia and Ukraine solved.
What about the Taiwan issue, sir?
It never came up. Taiwan never came up. It was not discussed, actually.
What else didn't come up that you thought might come up? You had mentioned you didn't get to everything.
We had a long meeting, as you know, but a lot of things we discussed in great detail. A lot of things we brought to finalization. A lot of finalization. I thought it was a great meeting. I think it was a very friendly meeting. It was a good meeting for two very large, powerful countries. And that's the way we should get along with large, powerful.
Why did you write your Truth Social about nuclear testing? What What about resuming nuclear testing? What prompted you to do that right before the meeting?
It had to do with others. They seem to all be nuclear testing.
Russia?
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Any details around the testing, sir? Like where, when?
It'll be announced. We have test sites. It'll be announced.
Did Israel give you a heads up before they bombed Gaza? And is it still a ceasefire if they're
it's a
stopping?
ceasefire. It is. No, they had a sniper, and one of their soldiers were killed, and they did retribution. So we'll see. But it is a ceasefire. It's back to ceasefire.
But is that
What is the thinking behind reducing troops in Romania, the drawdown of U.S. troops in Romania?
You have to ask. I mean, I can tell you about it, but it's not very significant. It's not a big deal.
On nuclear weapons, sir, which countries do you have in mind when you say you want to send a signal?
What a rough ride this is. The interviews are tough enough without your life being threatened. You guys okay?
Yes, sir.
That camera guy's very steady. We're going to look real bad today on television, I'll tell you. I think that, it's pretty much, I think we've discussed mostly what we said, pretty comprehensive. We're going to issue a statement on some of the details. But overall, I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12. Okay, I think it was a 12. I think very importantly, just the whole relationship is very, very important. And I think it was really good.
Especially coming on the heels of the successful trip. We're in Malaysia. You signed a peace deal for Cambodia and Thailand. Critical mineral deals with all our allies.
So many successful meetings.
Right?
And so many meetings great for our country with literally hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars have come into our country over the last 4 days, represented by this meeting. But trillions of dollars, where Toyota is going to build plants, $10 billion worth of plants. And, I could go over so many different companies coming in. They're pouring money into the United States. So beyond even this meeting, this was an unbelievable trip. And I hope you're glad you were a part of it. It was big. Every country, Japan, I mean, you look at South Korea, Japan, and so many other countries that we met there, they're investing tremendous amounts of money in the United States, like money that we've never seen before.
So are we investments from China in the U.S., additional investments, anything like a...
They have investments, and they will invest, and China, I think they feel very strongly. They congratulated me on the tremendous success that we've had, because there's never been a country that has had so much money come into it for purposes of investment, for building, for auto plants, for AI, etc. So he was very strong on congratulating me for that.
But you didn't commit to any additional investment or outflow?
We didn't really discuss it, but he would...
Did you ever get through to Kim Jong-un about setting up a meeting? Does he have a phone?
We never were able to talk because I was so busy. And really, this is why we came. I think it would have been maybe disrespectful to the importance of this meeting if we did that. So I'd come back with respect to Kim Jong-un. I'd come back if it was...
What do you want to talk about with him?
I had a great relationship with Kim Jong-un. I think if I didn't get elected, you would have had... If Hillary Clinton came in at the time, who he doesn't like too many people other than me, if you want to know the truth. I think you would have had a big war. Could have been a very bad war, too.
Sir, with the nuclear announcement, just one more on the nuclear announcement. Do you worry that we're entering a more risky environment when it comes to nuclear issues?
No, I don't think so. I think we have it pretty well locked up. But we have more than anybody. But I see them testing. I say, well, if they're going to test, I guess we have to test. I'd like to see a denuclearization because we have so many, and Russia has some. Russia's second, and China's third, and China will catch up within 4 or 5 years. I think de-escalation would be, they would call it denuclearization, would be a tremendous thing. And it's something, we are actually talking to Russia about that, and China would be added to that if we do something. Thank you all. It was a great success. It was a great honor. I mean, he's a tremendous leader of a very powerful country, and I give great respect to him, and we appreciate the fact that he came for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anything on Canada? Anything on Canada?
We had a very nice conversation with him last night. We really did.
Thank you.